You're looking at me like you've got a problem or something. Acting up here don't really mean anything unless you're going to fight in here now.
I don't think that Jake would have enough time, seeing as he's already undersized. He's not a real heavyweight, and this is Anthony Joshua we're talking about.
Take a punch, really. If he takes a big punch from Jake Paul, if he gets hurt in any way by Jake Paul, if he doesn't absolutely ice Jake Paul within a few rounds of this 8-round scheduled bout, well, then it really affects his credibility.
Tensions erupted at the press conference when Anthony Joshua confronted Jake Paul over what he saw as disrespect. The heavyweight champion reacted angrily, voicing his frustration with Paul's comments and behavior.
It don't matter, like, people we're going to fight now.
The heated press conference was only the start of the wider conversation around Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Experts weighed in, analyzing the risks and implications of the matchup. Legendary trainer Barry McGuigan offered particularly strong criticism, emphasizing the genuine fear many experienced boxers feel when facing someone with Jake Paul's unpredictability. Having spent decades around elite punchers, McGuigan stressed that a single clean shot can completely shift a fight's momentum, highlighting just how dangerous this matchup could become.
Some people are saying, AJ's grabbing the bag. There's nothing wrong with that because anybody else, if they got offered that kind of money, they would do it. So, yep. And some people are suggesting he might damage his legacy. Where do you sit with the decision of him taking that fight? And it's a professional 8-round fight as well.
Yes, it's a highly dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I don't know what he's doing, unless they have done some sort of caveat or some sort of agreement that he says he's going to go easy on him, or he's not going to go flat out. But I've been tossing this up and down in my mind and trying to figure how, and under God, when he had agreed to fight someone like Tank Davis, who is, several divisions below him. That's more like what Jake Paul does. And then he goes from there to fighting Anthony Joshua. I mean, just look at what happened to Francis Ngannou, who's a big, athletic, tough guy and had gone 12 rounds with Tyson Fury and given him a real ding-dong. And then he gets absolutely obliterated in a round and a half against Joshua. That shows you, despite the fact that he's been knocked out since by Daniel Dubois, who could knock out anybody, by the way, in any weight division or in any era of the heavyweight division. He's such a powerful guy; he could knock anybody out if he hits them properly. But it just seems utter madness. And
Wade, host of the Wade Concept podcast, reveals that Jake Paul's secret weapon for the Anthony Joshua fight has been exposed. He explains that Paul has been sparring with multiple heavyweights to mirror Joshua's size, height, and experience. These sessions allow Jake to feel real heavyweight power while sharpening his timing and strategy. By training with opponents who imitate Joshua's attributes, Paul is preparing himself for the unique challenges he will face on fight night.
Anthony Joshua fight, if you're Jake Paul, who hasn't fought someone in the top, realistically, the top 50. I know Tommy Fury is ranked in the top 50, but anyone that is a top 50 fighter, even in your weight class, let alone a top 10, top 5 heavyweight in Anthony Joshua, who was a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. Can you get prepared for a guy like that if you brought in, let's just say, a deity, freaking Zeus, Hercules, whoever, to prepare you? Could you do it? I don't think that Jake would have enough time, seeing as he's already undersized. He's not a real heavyweight, and this is Anthony fucking Joshua we're talking about. But I will say there were rumors going around that Jake was not taking this fight as seriously as he needed to. That Jake was dilly-dallying, flying to go see F1 in Miami after his press conference, and then going to see his girl all the way in the Netherlands if she's trying to qualify for, I think, the Olympics or something else. There was this post from his girlfriend. I don't know if, again, this was in the Netherlands or where it was at, or maybe this is an old picture, but Jake flying around the world when he has a fight in about 4 weeks is probably not the greatest look, and it doesn't seem to make it look like he's taking it as serious as he needs to, locked away in the gyms of Puerto Rico. Now, again, that could have been a different picture. That could have been something else, but that's pretty shocking to see. With that being said, I want to push back on that because I do think Jake is taking this as seriously as he absolutely needs to, because this is not only the toughest fight of his career, it's the most dangerous to the longevity of his career, to his health and well-being. And so to do something like that, you need to bring in the best help possible to get ready. We already heard that Jake Paul was preparing it for Anthony Joshua by sparring the guy that Anthony Joshua was about to fight in Cassius Chaney. This gentleman right here, who was 24-3 from B-More, aka the DMV, and apparently is a top 100 heavyweight, even though it doesn't say he's actually a top 100 heavyweight, but that was what he was being marketed as by
Spencer Oliver, former professional boxer and analyst, offers a unique perspective on the upcoming Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight. Speaking on a panel of experts, he argues that this matchup carries more than just competitive stakes, it has symbolic value for the sport. Oliver draws a comparison to Muhammad Ali's era, noting that Ali often took unconventional fights that captured global interest and reached far beyond traditional boxing circles. According to Oliver, if Joshua agrees to face Jake Paul, he steps into a moment similar to Ali's showmanship era, where entertainment and sport collide. The fight could bring new viewers to boxing, exposing the sport to audiences who rarely watch heavyweight bouts. It also tests Joshua's ability to stay focused in an unconventional matchup. Analysts note that the bout represents a cultural shift in boxing, bridging the gap between longtime fans and a new, digitally engaged audience. Oliver's comparison to Ali's unusual matchups shows how high-profile spectacles can expand viewership and generate massive global attention. By entering this crossover arena, Joshua connects with a broader demographic, including younger fans who follow Jake Paul through social media. This surge in interest could boost the sport's visibility, revenue potential, and sponsorship opportunities. Many experts believe the cultural impact might be just as significant as the fight itself.
Goes in, pops him a few times in the face, walks out 150 million quid. No one will remember the fact he fought Jake Paul. They'll remember the fact he knocked Klitschko out in Wembley in 2017.
Totally agree with that.
So I'm kind of, whilst I don't like it, and I don't like the way that Jake Paul gravitates to these brilliant athletes and like a moth sucks the life out of them because he gets a benefit of association, because I think they deserve all the association. But he is a clever and there is opportunity there, isn't there?
Listen, commercially, of course it works because it'll be huge and there'll be a load of money on the table. And for Anthony Joshua, it's like sort of, you know, he's going to get rewarded very well with no risk, minimal risk, no risk at all. He's going to go in there and he may then put all this stuff to bed with Jake Paul and calling out all these different champions, etc., etc. So, of course it works. And when you're talking about, you know, the credibility that Joshua's going to get, he's not going to get none now, but are people going to remember that? Of course they're not. Like, when he goes on to do what he does, didn't Muhammad Ali have some sort of strange fight in the middle of his career? Didn't he box? Yeah, he did. He boxed some non-boxing guy and whatnot. Like, people don't remember that. That's what I'm saying. Look, us as boxers, we don't remember stuff like that.
It was replicated in Rocky. So, he did a version of Fighting Thunderlips, didn't he? So,
Veteran boxing analyst Gareth A. Davies raises serious concerns about the safety of this matchup. He highlights the major weight difference and the wide gap in experience between the fighters, arguing that the fight pushes the limits of what is safe in a professional ring. Davies warns that a full-scale contest could be dangerous, especially if Joshua lands clean, powerful shots early on. While the spectacle of a social media star challenging a seasoned heavyweight is intriguing, the physical risks make the fight highly questionable. Analysts like Davies insist that regulators and promoters must carefully assess safety measures, as a miscalculation could lead to severe consequences for both men.
So, as I am with you, there is a danger in this fight. The odds are, Joshua's 1-12, obviously. Jake Paul is 6-1, yeah, to win this fight in a two-horse race in which this is a guy who lost to Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury's brother, in an 8-round fight, who, for me, I wrote that it would damage his legacy a week ago. It will damage his legacy for several reasons. If the Deontay Wilder fight never emerges, which it looks like it isn't, I've been calling for that fight for ages. If those two got in a ring together, it's still a massive fight. It's a dangerous fight to sanction, in my view. It sets the wrong precedent. It is 10-ounce gloves. It is a boxing match. It's not an exhibition. This isn't a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. This is one of the most dangerous finishers in the world, who is probably 5 levels above Jake Paul and a weight division above him. I think it's irresponsible to let those two in a ring together in a proper boxing match. That's my view. It doesn't damage his bank balance, but if he earns $70 million for this, are we...
Boxing analysts Angelo and Josh deliver a technical breakdown of the matchup. Comparing both fighters in terms of experience, skill, and natural ability, they argue that Jake Paul, though brave, is not on the same level as elite heavyweights like Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Joshua and Wilder belong to a rare class of fighters whose timing, precision, and raw power can change a fight instantly. Angelo and Josh emphasize that these qualities come from years of training and natural physical advantages that smaller or less seasoned fighters cannot imitate. They note that courage alone does not equal skill, and while Paul's confidence is admirable, it cannot replace the depth of preparation and instinct that true heavyweight professionals possess.